Whenever you get set to squat, the first things you need to look at are your feet. Just as the arms follow the hands, the structure of the legs will follow feet positioning. This is why you need to pay attention to your feet when you squat. You should start by ensuring that your feet are symmetrical and adopting a slight outwards point in your toes, around 30 to 40 degrees out, but experiment and see what's comfortable. Your knees will follow, angling out slightly on their axis. They shouldn't be pointing straight forwards, parallel to one another. That might look tidy, but it's not the way Mother Nature intended your lower limbs to work. When you angle the feet out slightly, you angle them relative to one another, so the concept of angling the foot out becomes meaningless when you're squatting off one leg. Just get in a comfortable natural position. Whether you are squatting on one or two legs, keep the hips in their natural positioning, don't curl them forward. Your legs should be fully extended. They don't need to be kinked at the top of a squat. The knees are designed to take the body's weight all day, so they can and should be extended as is normal when you stand. Okay, now the feet are good. Let's see a basic squatting motion. Notice that the knees are angled slightly outwards throughout the movement, no matter how deep he goes. The best way to ensure your knees track outwards is to adopt the slight foot angle I showed you. This is because your leg bones, your femurs, will tend to follow or track the toes outwards. Unfortunately, many athletes have proportionately weak outer hip muscles, and this causes their knees to track inwards during squatting. Inwards tracking is bad news. Inwards tracking of the knee can put grinding pressure on the knee joint, so avoid it at all costs. If you've ever had an ACL tear, you'll understand the importance of avoiding inwards tracking to keep the knee as strong and stable as possible. If your ligaments are torn or completely missing, the entire knee can pop out of joint and become dislocated during inwards tracking. But when your leg angles slightly out, the knee is in an incredibly strong position. Even guys who have injured their knees badly and possess no anterior cruciate ligaments can squat very safely if their lower bodies are proportionately strong and their legs follow their natural tracking path. Okay, that's the feet and legs taken care of. What about the rest of the body? The key here is to remember that, whatever squatting technique you're working on, you should keep your back naturally straight. Now, in bodyweight work, you'll often hear or read the phrase, keep your back straight. In fact, the spine has 3 natural curves in it. Keep your back straight doesn't mean we want you to iron out those beautiful natural curves. They are there for a reason, to organically mold to the neck, trunk, and hips, and also to act as a shock absorption system. We don't mean keep your back upright. You can keep your back naturally straight even during jackknife squats, where your torso is parallel to the floor. When we say keep your back straight, what we really mean is don't round the spine forwards in that lazy slumping posture most people seem to adopt. To keep your spine upright while retaining its perfect curvature, you don't need to adopt any obscure or painful positions. You just need to do 2 things. Firstly, keep your sternum, the bone in your chest, raised slightly. Secondly, open the neck vertebrae. You do this by imagining that the center of your crown is attached to a string which is holding you up. These 2 elements of perfect spinal posture will be well known to martial artists, as well as students of movement systems like the Alexander technique. If you follow these 2 simple rules, your spinal posture will be perfect. Round shoulders will also sabotage good posture, so wherever you put your arms, crossed, out in front, on a platform, on the hips, make a conscious effort to keep those shoulders spread nice and square. A lot of athletes have trouble finding the correct groove when they squat, no matter how long they've been doing it. The problem becomes worse when they try to squat deep. You see a lot of barbell squatters leading the exercise with their shoulders. They bend their legs a bit, then bend down, almost like a good morning. It looks like they just don't know how to find the path down. This is because they are leading the move with their shoulders, not their hips. If you have trouble finding your groove in the bottom position, it helps to think of yourself sitting down rather than squatting. This sitting naturally shifts your weight backwards, which ties in well with the pressure that should be running through your heels. It will also help you keep your spine upright. Your spine will naturally tilt forwards a little as you squat. That's cool, but you don't want to get into the kind of bowing motion some people get into. This is a sign that your center of gravity is too far forwards and makes the exercise too hip-based, robbing the legs of their share of work. Lead with your hips and sit back into deep squats. When you squat, you should use a full range of motion. By this, we mean that you should go all the way down and come all the way up. By all the way down, we mean you should go until your hamstrings are pressed onto your calves and you can go no further. Provided you have built up a good strength flexibility base, you should actually feel very little tension in the bottom position because your body is well compressed. If you are shaking and trembling at the bottom of the rep, you aren't going deep enough. The bottom position should almost feel restful. Providing you get there gradually, squatting deep strengthens the knees. It improves leg flexibility. Most importantly, it activates practically all the muscles of the lower body, not just the quadriceps at the front of the thigh, but also the hamstrings at the back, as well as the hip girdle, the ankles, the tibialis, and the inner thigh muscles. The Convict Conditioning Manual discusses the subject of squatting anatomy in more depth, but for now, let's just say that if you want to work practically every muscle from the solar plexus down, you need to do your squats, and do them deep. Some special exercises we'll show you call for half or partial squats, but where these exist, they only exist as stepping stones to strengthen you for full movements, and they should always be accompanied in your workout with full-range squatting movements. Full-range squats are king. Something important to say about the bottom position now. A lot of guys try to generate extra energy for their squats by dropping down and bouncing out of the bottom position. This is a bad mistake. Bouncing, rolling, or rocking out of the hole places a lot of stress on the soft tissues of your knees, especially the cartilage of the knee joint, the meniscus. Once your knee cartilage is torn, that's it. It won't heal. Bouncing up also requires less effort than pushing yourself up under muscular power. For this reason, never bounce out of a squat. A good way to eliminate bouncing and extraneous momentum from your squats is to institute a nice, clean 1-second pause at the bottom position, like this. Control your descent using muscle power. Never allow gravity to take over so you just drop. Although the bottom position is restful, don't pause too long. Stay down for a moment just to ensure that all the momentum is taken out of the exercise and to make certain you don't bounce out of the squat. No rest for dedicated athletes like you guys. Once all momentum is dissipated, it's time to go back up. While we're on the topic of correct pressing out of the squat, it's important that you feel the bulk of your weight going through the heels, not the toes. Feeling the squat through your heels helps ensure that your hip positioning is good. If you feel the exercise through the balls of your feet or your toes, it means your center of gravity is tilting forward. This is a common mistake in beginners. It encourages excessive forwards lean and places too much force through the knees. If you have trouble shifting the weight through your heels, try gently lifting your toes up to get the idea of what we mean. This trick will also help you keep your heels flat as you squat. Never ever lift your heels when you squat. There's no need, even if you are very tall. If you have to lift your heels when you descend, it's purely due to a lack of ankle mobility and flexibility in the Achilles tendon. You can try to speed up your flexibility by performing specific calf and ankle stretching, but the best and safest way to gain this kind of flexibility is by gradually working into flat-footed squats, using lighter squatting techniques such as jackknife squats and supported squats, which we'll demonstrate shortly. Lots of reps will teach your body what it needs to do without any severe stretching work. If you want to be a great squatter, you need to synchronize your breathing right. The basics to remember are: breathe out on the way up, breathe in on the way down. If you need to take extra breaths at the bottom or top, do so. If you feel dizzy and need more breaths, take them. Find a pattern that works for you. Breathe deeply but don't force it, and try not to hold your breath when you train. We know a lot of powerlifters hold their breath during training, but they tend to do single or very low rep sets. You'll be doing much more. You need to make that oxygen work for you. Tied into the art of breathing is the skill of bracing your core. Don't tense your midsection unnecessarily, but keep your gut sucked in and tight when you squat. Squatting causes a normal rise in intra-abdominal tension, and keeping your stomach wall tight automatically acts as a protective belt around the waist. This focus on bracing the core also works the vital internal midsection muscles like the diaphragm and transversus, which are just as important to health and fitness as the biceps or quads. One last point before we move on. One of the key factors in injury and bad movement patterns is uneven body strength. One side is stronger than the other, and this affects your alignment. When a piece of clothing, maybe a pair of jeans, rips under pressure, it always rips at the seams. Why? Because the seam is the weakest point. Likewise, if you put your own muscular system under pressure, your weakest areas become injured first. If one side of your body is a good way stronger than the other side, you had better be prepared to get injured more. Avoiding weak links and creating a finely tuned, symmetrical muscular system is the absolute best thing you can do to avoid unnecessary injuries. In reality, most people have a weaker side of their system, and their body intuitively understands that this is dangerous. So to prevent injuries, most people favor their strong sides in lifting or moving, even if they do this unconsciously. Unfortunately, this is the worst thing you can do. It amplifies the problem by making the strong side stronger and the weak side weaker. The correct way to eliminate weak links is to ensure that you move your body with symmetry of output. When you perform bilateral movements on both feet, always ensure you move with symmetry. When you perform uneven or one-legged squats, use the technique of symmetrical capping. Always start your workout with your weakest leg. Doing this gives you an automatic power default rep level. If you started with your strongest leg, you probably couldn't then do as much work with the weakest leg, and any inherent power imbalances will start to manifest. Starting with the weakest leg eliminates this risk. It also allows you to give your weaker limbs your best energy, while you're at your freshest and most focused. This is a technique you should apply to all unsymmetrical strength work you do. Use it on any exercise once you're at the stage where you're working the limbs separately.